All right, we are going live, and I think we're here. All right, awesome. Let me just double check to make sure all the things are going, and I think they are. Huzzah, look at that. Hey, happy Thursday. So listen, we, on this week's coaching call, we had someone ask about perfectionism and how to move forward when perfectionism is going crazy. And so that's what I want to talk about today. But before I get started, I just want to remind anybody that's in Empower Bookkeeper Network that the Next Step Challenge starts on October 1st. And so what we're going to be doing, and if you're interested in buying Bookkeeper Training School, you get the Empower Bookkeeper Network with it. You would also get access to this challenge. And so we are running a challenge during the month of October to get you to your next step. And so there are 3 teams. There's Team Cert, which are the ones who are getting QuickBooks certified. There's Team First, which are the folks who are working on getting their first client, and then Team Next, which are the people that are looking to get their next client. And so we're going to be running that challenge. So check your emails, check your texts, and make sure that you are signed up for your team. So that way you get the information that is relevant for your team. We're going to do text messages. We're going to do special additional coaching calls. And so really, really important that you make sure that that you are on the text list for that, okay? Because we're primarily running this through the text list, okay? All right, awesome. Okay, so let's talk about perfectionism and actually using it to your advantage and using it to help you. So here's the thing. Most people say, oh my God, my perfectionism stops me from doing the things I want to do because everything I do has to be perfect. I have to memorize all the things. I have to know all the stuff. And so therefore I can't, I can't, and I'm paralyzed, right? So if you're watching this live, you're watching the replay and this resonates with you, let me know, okay? Because I think this resonates with a lot of women. I think a lot of women have this issue. So here's the thing. I want to talk about how you can redirect your perfectionism to actually help you do things. So what used to happen to me is that I couldn't get things done because the thing I was trying to do had to be perfect, right? And one day I said, you know what, we're going to redirect a little bit. And what I really want to do is I want to make sure that my action is perfect. And what I mean by that is that I'm always doing what I'm supposed to be doing, right? So it's not that the outcome is perfect, right? I'm striving for the action to be perfect. So let me give you an example. So I'm on a weight loss plan where we have to make a plan every single day before we eat, okay? And so I initially got hung up on oh my God, my plan has to be perfect, right? So I have to put together the perfect plan that's going to help me lose the weight. And I have to make sure I stick to that plan 100%, and I can't vary from it, and I can't do, right? And instead, what I decided to do is I said, okay, listen, it's not about the perfect plan. It's about making sure that my streak is perfect, that every single day I'm writing my plan. And so that redirected my perfectionism. Okay. I'm currently in a coaching certification program. And when I first started that program, I wanted to make sure that, I went through and I did all the things perfectly, and I was trying to memorize all the information, and, I wanted to make sure that I had the perfect notes. And I thought to myself, okay, Kristen, this is going to take you forever to go through. And so I came up, I have a checklist that I go through, And my goal now is to do one module every single day. Right. So that's where I'm going to focus my perfectionism, is on working on it every single day. And even if I only work on it, like last night, so yesterday we went to Disney and we got home at like 8:30 last night. By the time we got Eric to bed and got everything going, it was probably like, I think it was 9:30 or 10 o'clock. And I said, I'm gonna listen to one video, right? Because that will keep my streak going, right? Which makes my perfectionism happen. And so I'm not focused on taking the perfect notes, having 100% memorization. And I'm gonna say that, some of you that are in bookkeeper training school, I see you commenting like, it's taking me forever to go through it because I feel like I have to know everything. I have to remember everything. No. So here's the awesome thing about bookkeeper training school is you have lifetime access to all the modules in bookkeeper training school. And even if we update them, you get those updates, right? And so the thing that's important is I would have some notes on where things are in bookkeeper training school. And remember, we also have the search feature, so you can just search for things. But I would just take a little bit of notes so you kind of know what the videos talked about. And that's it. Like, you don't have to memorize everything because it's there for you. I think it's really interesting. I think one of the kind of the failures of our school system is that we've taught people, like, you have to memorize everything. You have to memorize all the stuff because you're going to take a test. And so we think that all learning is about memorizing, right? And we have to have the perfect score and the perfect memorization. We have to know all the things. And in reality, and I tell you this, because I've been on the board of education. I was a college professor for 13 years. I've developed curriculum. I've sat on curriculum committees. Real education is about knowing how to find answers. Okay, that's what real education is about. It's not about how much knowledge you possess. It's about, can you acquire knowledge? Do you know how to go get it? Right? And that's what real education is all about. So when you're going through bookkeeper training school, it is really, and this is whatever education program you're going through, whether it's my course or whether it's another course, or, like I said, I'm getting my coaching certification right now. It's really all about knowing where to find the answers when you need them. Because think about it, when you have a client come to you and you have a particular circumstance, I tell my students all the time, I go look for answers. I know where to go get the answers, right? And I know a lot about the software. And so a lot of times I can say, okay, if the client is having a problem with this, then how can I triage that problem? How can I fix that problem? And if I can't figure it out, I know where to go to get help. Okay. And so I think when you start to think about education and your perfectionism, right? When you're sitting there and you're saying, I have to do this perfectly, I'd love for you to ask yourself, like, why do I have to do this perfectly? And a lot of times the reason that perfectionism pops up is really because we're afraid. We're afraid that if we actually finish this thing, what's going to happen next, right? Where's the next piece? And that's, I think, where a lot of perfectionism comes from, is it's actually really fear popping up and saying, okay, well, you have to know all the things. So if you don't know all the things, you're not doing it right. Right? If you don't do all the steps that you come up with, right, that you decide are the right steps, then no, clearly there's something wrong. Okay. And so I really want you to think about, so when you're dealing with perfectionism, when it rears its ugly head for you, what I want you to do, okay, is I want you to say, okay, what is it that I'm trying to get done? And instead of making the outcome perfect, we're going to try to make the action perfect, right? So that might mean that, hey, you know what? if I'm working on something, like let's say you're writing something that's really important, or you're working on a client, or you're putting together a proposal, what I want you to do is I would say, you know what, I'm going to create the perfect condition to do this in. So I'm going to close out Facebook. I'm going to close out all my social media. I'm going to close my email. I'm going to close out all the distraction, right? So notice we're making the action perfect, not the outcome. And say, okay, what I'm going to make the best conditions I can right now, so I'm not distracted. Okay. Or this is something I'm trying to develop into a habit, right? I want to market for my business every single day. And so my goal every single day is going to be to reach out to 3 businesses. Okay. And so every single day I'm going to reach out to 3 businesses, and I'm going to try to keep that streak going for as long as I can. Okay. That is a really good way to redirect your perfectionism. So redirect it away from having the perfect outcome, right, to perfecting your action. Because a lot of times we forget about that action piece, right? And so you might be sitting there going, oh my God, I need to do the perfect proposal so that way this person hires me. Oh wait, I'm on Facebook. Oh wait, I'm over here. Oh, my email. Oh, this is beeping. Oh, I've got text messages and all the things. And we don't get it done because we distract ourselves out of it. All right, so I hope that this was helpful for you. Let me know if you have any questions at all. I'd love for you to comment on if there's something that you are working on right now that perfectionism is stopping you. I'd love for you to put in the comments what that is so that we can help walk you through that. All right, I hope you guys have an awesome day. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon.